So we're going to take a few minutes and talk about what is, for me, my hands-down favorite grinding polishing machine. It's the Predator X Series grinder polisher. This machine is a four-headed, belt-driven, true planetary grinder. It's manufactured by Innovatech. Innovatech is one of the 5 brands that are manufactured by Bartell Global. The machine that we see here is a 32-inch model. You can also get it in an 18-inch size as well as a 24-inch size. And in those 3 sizes, there are 5 different models that you can choose from. Also, within that is a complete full spectrum of power configurations to fit your needs. When I look at the machine, what I notice first of all, it's very important, big bold letters, it says made in the USA. Every piece of this machine, every piece of metal is bent, cut, ground, welded. Everything is assembled right in Louisville, Kentucky, and that's a nice aspect for sure. You can also grind wet or dry with this machine, and if you do want to grind wet, and you have the option of a water tank, so you're able to use that. As we work our way back, something that I think is really important, you have not just an on-off switch, but you have a lockable on-off switch. And I think that's important is when you leave a job at the end of the night, you want to know that no one's going to mess with your machine. You throw a little lock on there, just a small lock. Nobody can turn it on now, accidentally start it, maybe damage something. And so it just gives you a little peace of mind. Also has an hour meter. You need an hour meter with a machine like this to let you know where you're at, time-wise, how many hours you have on the machine. As we go back and we look at our controls, they're very easily accessible. They're right in front of you. You've got, first of all, your power on a button that actually starts the machine. You've got a forward, a reverse, and then a stop button in the middle as well. You also have an emergency stop. In case there was some kind of problem, you can just hit that and immediately stop the machine. It has your speed pod as well, so you can turn it down, go a little slower when you're cutting with your metal bonds, and then as you graduate up to your resin bond diamonds, you can turn this sucker up and it'll literally, this machine will just sing to you. It runs so smoothly and so nicely, especially in that polishing side of the project. Has an adjustable handle. It can go down nice and low. It can also go up nice and high. And you can see when we pull it up there's your 3-inch dust port. And this comes with a cam lock system. So when you put that hose on, it's not compression fit. It's not going to work its way off and fall off like some of them do. But that cam lock locks on. It does not come off until you take it off. It also has what is really a neat little feature is you can adjust the angle of your dust port. So you can adjust it to the left and make it so that the hose is not coming right at you, but it's going off to the left, or you can adjust it to the right. And that way it goes that way. And it just makes it so much more comfortable when you're working to have that hose kind of just flowing off away from you. Really makes a big difference at the end of the day. So what I want to do is I want to take a minute and I want to pull the machine back and I want to show you the 4 heads. I want to talk for a minute about what it is about those 4 heads that makes this machine such an aggressive grinder, but also such a smooth running machine as well. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so here's what the drum looks like when you look at it. You can see your planetary heads. They're 11-inch heads. And you can also notice, when you turn this, you'll notice that you can call this the north and the south and the east and the west head. You've got, when they turn, you'll notice the north and the south, when you turn it, are going counterclockwise, but the east and the west are going clockwise. And so when this whole drum is turning, and each of these are turning opposite of each other, it makes for everything like counteracts each other, and it makes for a really consistent grind across the full width of the machine, as well as a very comfortable machine to run, because everything is kind of like working against each other. It makes it so that it's just a very smooth running machine. Oftentimes I will literally let go of the handles and I'll just run the machine by the head, just to show people how easy it is to control this machine. And it's because of the 4 heads and how they work in relation to each other. So those are just some of the features and benefits that we could talk about on the Predator. But I wanted to sum up with something that I think is really, really important, and that's this. The man that designed this specific machine was a contractor himself. And so he designed it with the thoughts of a contractor. And what are those things? It's durability, and it's also ease of maintenance, ease of repair. And so things that, features that you can't see in this machine are still there. Features like high components inside your inverter, that you can get cheaper ones, but we use the best we can find. Bearings, you know, there are 16 bearings in this machine that run that belt, and they all need to run very cleanly and for a long time. And so we can get cheaper bearings, but we use the very best bearings that we can find to run that machine. Very, very important design features. Another interesting thing that a contractor would want is the ease of being able to take it apart. You know, you can have this frame away from that head in probably 3 minutes. You literally have to pull the pins in the front. You have to pull the hoses off. These hoses here, dust extraction hoses, and then there's a plug that runs power from the inverter to the motor. You pull those three things apart, the frame backs away from the head that fast. And why that's nice is because once that gets away, another feature that I really like is that you'll notice that the shroud is two separate pieces. There's a small piece here in front, and then the main body of the shroud. And why that is to make it, again, easy for maintenance. If you didn't have two pieces, you'd have to take this motor apart to be able to get that shroud off. So now you can just take the shroud off, you can leave that small piece on, and now you're able to get very, very quickly into the top of the machine where your top belt is, where your top pulleys are. For easy maintenance and easy belt replacement. Another thing that people don't see is the way the pulleys work in this machine. There are two of the pulleys have spindles that come up, that penetrate and come up outside of the drum itself and inside of the shroud. And those pulleys or those spindles over time wear out, and they get thinner and thinner, and then they'll pop off. Well, in the old days, you had to take the machine completely apart to get that pulley out and replace the whole pulley. But we set it up now so that that spindle actually, with 6 little bolts, you take that spindle off, you put a new spindle on, and you don't have to take the machine apart at all. So just another design feature that doesn't mean nothing until you're 5, 6, 7 years down the road, but then becomes very important. Another really critical thing about the Predator that is really a nice design feature is when you go to replace the belt, it's easy to do. You know, a lot of the competition out there, it literally takes special tools. It takes a day, 2 days, 3 days to replace. It takes a long time to replace their belts. With ours, there are no special tools. You can do it on a job site. You just flip that head over, and you take it apart. You replace that belt. It takes about 2 hours to do. So it's really really a nice design feature, and it makes the Predator a really contractor-friendly machine, not just at the beginning, but as the years go by. Really a machine that I've enjoyed running and happy to promote.